Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a livery for GTA 5 vehicles. So first things first, you're going to want to go ahead and create a new layer on your template, and then you're going to want to change the color on your paint bucket to whatever color. For this example, I'm going for black, but here later in the video I'll change it to white for the better look on the model that I'm making. So we're just making a basic sheriff vehicle. It's just going to have a basic badge, 911 plate and everything, but you're basically just going to want to change the opacity of the top layer to a lower percentage so you can still see your template, and then you're going to want to go to place. On the file place, go to wherever your logos are and figure out which logo you want to use for whichever one, depending on how many logos you have set in place for the said model that you are creating. So I went with the top left one, the BCSO Sheriff's, the Blaine County Sheriff's Office, but I believe I put San Andreas County on the Tahoe itself, which I will be using Open4 to be importing the vehicle livery to the model. You'll see that later in the video. Here's me resizing the sheriff badge right now to the top of the, or to the middle of the vehicle, I should say. And I'm just trying to get it in the perfect spot so that it's not in the way of the handlebars, or the whatever they're, I honestly forgot what they're called. That's my mistake. I don't know why I can't think of it. The door handle, there we go. My apologies, everybody. That little mess up right there in my vocabulary. So I'm changing the font now, getting ready to put text on the vehicle. It's going to be saying Sheriff. I changed my font size to about 160 after this, I believe. But I'm just basically setting it to figure a certain size for it. So you're just going to want to put any kind of text you're going to be putting: sheriff, police, you know, whatever model you're going with. You can even base it off of an IRL model of any kind of department you'd like to do, depending on what you're wanting to do. So I'm right now picking the color of the badge to match the text color. After that, you're going to want to change the size of it to make sure it fits well and makes it look good on the entire model. Move it around a little bit, mess with it, make sure that it fits good and it looks good all around. And then after you're done, I'm just waiting for myself. I'm doing a voiceover right now, so that's why it's a little different for me. This is my first video, so you guys can judge all you want in the comments. I don't really care. Give me some feedback. So now you're going to add some stroke to the text. You're going to want to make sure you set it to a lower size so it just kind of fits well with the vehicle. It doesn't look too bold or out there. It just kind of gives it a little stands out more, basically. Especially on the white that we're going to be using. Instead of black, we're doing white in the back. So the whole vehicle is going to be white with a black stripe going through the door on the driver's side, right behind the badge. So now I'm just kind of moving the sheriff around and putting it down on the bottom. You're going to want to duplicate the layer. First, the reason why I went back a step right there is because I accidentally did the wrong thing. You're going to want to duplicate both layers, the text and the badge, and then bring them down to the secondary door and make sure that they fit the exact same way as the other side so it looks even on both sides. Now that you have that, we can start putting, kind of organizing our text through our pictures, from our logos, from our template, everything like that. Just put a little color on the stuff if you want. You don't have to do this. This is not required. This is just a step I like to take to organize my files when I'm done, or when I'm making templates and vehicle textures. It's a really good idea. So now I'm going to be adding supervisors to the front of the vehicle because this will be a supervisor Tahoe. Just for an example, you don't actually have to put supervisor on the Tahoe. You can put whatever kind of text you want, whatever logos, decals, whatever you want to do. This is just an example of how to create one for those that do not know how. It's a super simple process that takes not very much time depending on what you're doing. And if you want to do a bunch of line work, that might take some more time using rectangles, erasing, lining it up, making it look nice, stuff like that. So now I'm just adding a little bit more stroke over the text right now. You just have to put a little stroke over it to give it a little bit more boldness to the back of it, and it just stands out more on the white. As you can see here, I'm now changing the back to white. Opacity is still the same, but I'm going to be lowering it much more because it'll just look super bright until you are finished. And when you're finished, you just change that opacity back to the top, back all the way up so that it's nice and even. I kind of was all over the place making this video earlier when I was recording it. I was doing a lot of different steps all at once, kind of confusing myself, trying to think of what I'm going to be saying when I'm doing the voiceover, all this and that. I didn't really have a commentary to go off of, so I'm just doing it free-based and saying whatever I feel like saying. But I will work on these videos and making them the better high quality. later on down the road. But now I'm going to be working on adding a 911 badge to the back of it. So I go to decals, wherever your decals might be. You can pick from any different kinds. I have many different kinds as well. And this livery will be up on the lcpdfr.com website, available for anybody to download for free. So there I am, resizing and changing the color on the back on Photoshop, but resizing the image, making it smaller, definitely helps making it look better on the vehicle, and I think that's a perfect size for this model. It could be a little bit bigger, or you can just use text and do dial 911 on it, whatever. But now I'm adding a chevron to the back. I'm using the yellow and white, or yellow and transparent one right there. And I will be putting that on the back of the Tahoe. That one will be just for anybody that's behind the vehicle. They will realize it's a law enforcement or emergency service vehicle. And now I'm just resizing it, and then you're going to see the little tiny detail work that I have to do. I usually zoom in really far, get an eraser, and then start erasing it. Sometimes I change the opacity of the decal or logo image, whatever, and after that I start erasing little bits and pieces of it to make it look even on all around. Here I am editing and erasing a corner piece to make it look lined up perfectly with the vehicle template. There we go. Now it's all lined up. I got it pretty much perfect on all corners. So now that after you're done with that, you can go ahead and turn the opacity back up. Next thing we're going to be working on, trying to figure out what I'm doing in the video. My apologies, everybody. I did this voiceover a little while after I made the video, so I kind of forgot some steps. Oh yeah, we are adding the San Andreas County text below the sheriff logo, and that just helps with everybody understanding like where they come from. It says Blaine County on the badge. I do realize that now, but before when I was making the video, I'd made it San Andreas. I should have made it Sheriff's Blaine County instead, but it's alright. It still looks good at the end. You guys will see the finished results towards the end of the video, and you guys, like I said, can make whatever kind of model livery you want. It just depends on how much work you're willing to put into it and whatever you want to put on it. Something like this can take upwards of 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how much work you put into it, whatever you put on it, etc. And now I'm just duplicating the San Andreas County thing and lining it up with the sheriff logo on the bottom door to make sure that it matches both sides. I did start putting it towards the back of sheriff, but then I realized it's more in the front area, so I started putting it towards the front, kind of lining it up evenly so it looks like the same as it does on the other side of the vehicle. And you want to do this so that it's even all around, so when people get this model, you don't see uncentered, uneven text on your vehicle or logos, which is what I do sometimes still on my vehicles, and I am getting better at creating models and liveries, not models, but liveries for models. My apologies on my English. First video, you know how it goes. And now I'm just duplicating the supervisor text that I forgot to duplicate earlier in the video. And I bring it over, click Control T, and I align it up a little bit, just like that. And now I'm creating the square, which this part does take a little while. It's kind of a hit or miss for what you're going with, depending on how big you want it and everything like that. I'm just making something that's big enough to go over the badge, but long enough to cover from top to bottom wherever it's standing. It just takes me a little bit to get it, but I managed to get it there after a couple minutes, I believe. And I put it behind the badge and then align it with the vehicle to make it look pretty good. I changed the opacity so I can see the badge, see where I need to erase spots at and stuff like that. Just taking a good look at it. And I was going to edit this one, but then I just remade a new one because this one was being weird and not wanting to do what it was supposed to be doing. And if you guys want more detailed videos on how to make this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments below, and I will be sure to add more stuff like that. I am working on making my video quality better and everything else better. I will eventually start recording with my voice in the same video instead of doing voiceovers because I don't like doing voiceovers. It's not really something I've been wanting to do. I want to engage more with the community. I want to feel like I'm involved in the video, so I'm not kind of just talking over the video. And I can kind of keep up with the process at the same time instead of trying to wait for something to happen when I go too fast or speak too fast. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So I think that's about good for my square. So now I'm going to fill in the stroke and the fill box with black. And then I'm going to be trying to paint and erase certain spots. So I paint in black wherever it's missing black, and then I erase spots that I don't need black at, or so the rectangle at. So then you click on it, you click OK, and then you go ahead and erase the certain spots you don't need. I'm trying to make it a little bit longer so that it's kind of like down more and even. I was trying to do the best I could with this rectangle. It was a little messy. I don't know why I went with this kind of rectangle. I could have went for something way simpler, a smaller rectangle with like a line across the vehicle or something, but I just randomly thought of this in the middle of the making of the video. I kind of just went with what I was going with as soon as I started with the badge, and I just go from there. And now you can see I'm painting certain spots that don't need it. I just I click the mouse once inside the box, hold shift, and then click the left mouse button again to kind of like make a line with the paint. And then I just make a little not super even line right there because the edges don't really matter as much as long as you have it perfectly lined up, and I will be erasing certain spots of the edges to make it perfectly lined later. But it doesn't have to be exactly perfect as long as it's covering the line, just like that. See how I made it a little bit too far, so I tried it again. Went a little bit lower with my mouse this time. I got it just perfect. And then I take the paint tool again and I go down a little bit more and just kind of even out the line again. This one I make a little bit too up, so I delete it, go back, and then put it down straighter. Kind of follow it a little bit slower, and then boom. And there we go. Now I take that part, make a line with it right there, and paint in the last little bit. And then I take my eraser tool, and I erase super straight line. And then for this one, I zoom in and I turn my eraser size down a little bit more, I believe. Because you can use a big eraser, but I recommend using a smaller one for like more precise cuts to make it better looking for everybody. It just kind of makes everything better in the long run. It might take a little bit longer to do smaller erases at a time, but it's definitely worth the final result. So you just clear up the lines that are not meant to be there. Now I just kind of go in, line it up. Went a little too far in that one, so I had to retry again. It's always good to have that retry step. The Control Z is what I use on Photoshop for going back in. But now you can see the lines right there. So now I'm going to be putting it behind the badge and changing the color on it to blue, I believe. Not really sure why I changed the color to that, but because I believe the logos I was doing were green or red. Or not red, but green or a different color. I can't really remember. And I'm just changing the color on Photoshop to match it. Obviously, I still don't know why I made it blue, but I'm going to be duplicating that layer to put it on the other side now. So what you do is you drag it down, then you click Control T, then you right click on the model, and then you flip horizontally, then you bring it over and just line it up as you did on the top, just like that, just like the other side, boom. Now it's almost perfect. I just didn't realize until just about right now how the badge does not line up just like the top one does, but that's alright. People make mistakes. I didn't really realize I went a little high. I could have made it a little bit better, but it's not super bad, and I did miss some spots in the window that I forgot to erase, but overall in the outcome, in the end, it still looked really good, which I will show you guys once I export it to Open4, which I will be showing you how to do right now. So you go to Save As, you go down to Photoshop, you can name it Tahoe underscore sign underscore 1 if you want. That's the base model livery, but you can save it as PNG. It doesn't matter what you name it, it's just going to be changed anyways. And then you click OK, and then you go over to the windows. For the Tahoe windows, if you want to put anything on the windows, you can. Alright, so now you're going to grab your decal or logo, whatever you want to put on your windows. I will be using this yellow paramedic logo. Just for an example, you can use paramedic, you can use whatever for like detective unit, ghost unit, you know, whatever you need it to be, police logo, anything really. And then when you're done with that, you just duplicate the layer. Once you size it perfectly, you just duplicate the layer. And then after that, you're going to want to save it as a PNG file. And then you can name it whatever. I named it Windows for this example. Okay, you click OK. And then after that, open Open4. Click on Grand Theft Auto 5 Windows, or whatever platform you may be using. Don't mind me editing my desktop. And then you go to Mods folder, go to Update, X64, DLC Packs, Patch Day 23 NG, DLC.rpf, X64, Levels, GTA 5, Vehicles.rpf, and then whenever you get your file, you can import it right there into that folder anywhere, and it'll drop it in the right spot. I'm just demonstrating you can open your file, and normally it would be right there, or you can, if you already have it, then it'll be there for you whenever. And then you go scroll down to the YTD file for the model you're using. I clicked on the wrong one right there. Mine, I forgot I renamed it to GCSO20 for my Genesee County Sheriff's Office pack I made. And if you guys want to check out any of my liveries, you can go to my store, which will be linked in the description below. I sell only a couple liveries as of right now. And then you search up sign on your YTD. You go to replace. Make sure you click on Tahoe Sign 1, replace, and then Tahoe Sign 1 or whatever you named it, and it'll replace the name to Tahoe Sign 1 already for you. Then you click save. Now you want to make sure that you do it in the high_hide.ytd file as well. You change the same thing, Tahoe Sign _1, save, and then make sure you go into your model file, search up window, and make sure you find the windows. Click replace, and then replace it with the window file you already had. You can replace both the texture and the windows at the same time. I just did it in two different spots for some reason in the video. And then you go back up to your model to view it, and you can view your new model with the livery that you just created. And that's the new model. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please be sure to subscribe down below, leave a comment for any thoughts you may have had, and have a great night.